Hello and welcome tonight. Gunmen abduct 8 worshippers during church service in the Ifelodun local government area of Kwara State. President Bola Tinubu says Nigeria has secured French support for military equipment and training after his phone conversation with President Emmanuel Macron. Former presidential candidate Peter Obi criticizes the ongoing detention of Nasir El-Rufai while meeting with APC stakeholders in Kaduna. And Iran warns it would permanently close the Strait of Hormuz if President Donald Trump delivers on his threat to strike its energy infrastructure. We begin in Kwara State, where gunmen today attacked the Evangelical Church of West Africa, ECWA, in Ifelodun local government area, abducting 8 worshippers. Sources there said the assailants, suspected to be bandits, stormed the church during service and then fired sporadically to disperse the congregation before carrying out the abduction. 3 of the victims were later reported to have escaped from their captors, leaving 5 still in captivity. The Kwara State government confirmed the incident through the Commissioner for Communications, Bolanle Olukoju, who directed security agencies and local vigilantes to help intensify efforts to apprehend the perpetrators. While the government further condemned the attack, describing the targeting of a place of worship as unacceptable, and called for sustained collaboration among security forces, forest guards, vigilantes, and community members to curb the menace. President Bola Tinubu has called for a united push to overcome the challenge of insecurity in the country and address the negative impact of the ongoing Middle East crisis on the people. Speaking while receiving a large delegation of the state governors who came on Salah homage to his private residence in Lagos, the president commended them for all they were doing for the people, but emphasized that they have to do more. He also revealed that he had sought more international assistance for equipment and technical support from France to enhance the fight against insecurity in the country.
The next phase of our struggle is staring us in the face. Is the challenge of insecurity in this country. And I'm making all the efforts to ensure it is us collectively that we share the joy and be proud of, victory over tyranny. One of the major discussions in UK is equipment and support. I can report to you, yesterday again, I had a lengthy discussion with Emmanuel Macron. Their collaboration with us for equipment and support, while I'm making effort, frantic effort, to contact other nations. If we have to spend our goodwill and line of credit, we have those who are willing to support us with equipment and training. Our investment in technology and equipment that we must defeat, terrorism and all of these characters. We must come together to do that. You are all doing well, but you can do better. Caring for the vulnerable. I know this Middle East crisis will elicit inflation, will affect our purchasing power. The labor union and others will be gearing to ask us to support them because of the effect of the Middle East war and prices at the pumps, resulting in transportation problems and high prices.
Now, our President Bola Tinubu is determined to address the issue of insecurity. Residents of Ngosha community displaced by Boko Haram insurgents in Gwaza local government area of Borno State are asking government to come up with renewed operations in order to flush out the terrorists and restore total peace in that area. According to Senator Alain Dume, the senator representing Borno South, who hails from that area, the terrorists are now hiding in the Mandra mountains and they come out at will to attack communities. In this report, Channels Television looks at the plight of the internally displaced persons who are taking refuge at nearby Borno IDP camp.
This is the atmosphere at the Polka internally displaced camp hosting the people of Ngoshe in Gwaza local government area of Borno State after Boko Haram insurgents ransacked the community was immediately recaptured by the Nigerian military. Although Governor Babagana Zulum has met the immediate needs of the IDPs during his visit, the major challenge here is poor shelter and hygiene while their children remain out of school. This widow, Jummai Abubakar, a mother of 9 who lost her husband some years ago, is among the residents whose houses were destroyed alongside various foodstuff, but she is still hopeful of returning home.
I am really suffering. My house was burnt down and all my belongings were lost. I feel very bad.
A former councillor of Ngoshe Ward, Philip Yakubu, whose mother was killed, described the attack as severe and need major attention.
What we want here is peace. Let our leaders expedite action to increase the tempo of security here. Their visit has strengthened us.
The senator representing Borno South, Alain Dume, and a member of the House of Representatives in the area, Ahmed Jahababao, who visited the IDPs at Polka ahead of Governor Babagana Zulum's second visit, disclosed that 27 persons were killed. The lawmakers who refuted Christian genocide in Gwaza area explains that the insurgents are hiding in the Mandra mountains and attack communities regardless of religious affiliations.
What has happened to us in Ngoshe is unfortunate. It's a massacre, inhuman massacre of poor Nigerians, irrespective of religion. Out of 27 people that were killed, 3 are Christians. Let the world know if they will help us to get rid of Boko Haram in the Mandara Mountains, particularly. You can see part of it here. That is what we want.
The only thing we had was an attack by armed Boko Haram members. And they attack the community regardless of who you are, whether you are a Muslim or you are a Christian. If they caught you, they are definitely going to kill you.
The renewed attacks on Borno communities in the last 1 month has become an issue of great concern, not only to the residents of the state, but to the federal and Borno state governments.
In politics, ahead of the planned national convention of the People's Democratic Party, former governor of Abia State, Okezie Ikpeazu, is asking members to make best use of the occasion to rebuild the party, the PDP, describing the recent appeal court judgment as a second chance that must not be squandered. Mr. Ikpeazu, who is the chairman of the Convention Planning Committee, was speaking at the formal inauguration of all the convention committees by the chairman of the PDP Caretaker Committee in Abuja.
Members of the Caretaker Committee of the Abdurrahman Mohammed-led People's Democratic Party, PDP, gather in Abuja for the inauguration of all the committees for the planned National Elective Convention scheduled for the 29th and 30th of March 2026. The chairman of the Caretaker Committee, Abdurrahman Mohammed, the National Secretary, Samuel Anyanwu, the former governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, and several other members of the party loyal to the Minister of the FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike, preside over the event. For some of the personalities here, this meeting goes beyond a routine gathering. It is a test of whether the PDP can overcome its internal challenges in the wake of the recent appeal court's judgment.
The recent judgment of Court of Appeal, widely regarded as a no victor, no vanquish verdict, offer us a philosophical anchor. It reminds us that true triumph lies not in individual victories, but in a collective survival and institutional continuity. It calls us to rest above division and embrace reconciliation as higher virtue.
The former governor of Abia State urges members of the committee to put their heart on the task ahead, as the planned convention provides another opportunity for the PDP to be alive.
The Court of Appeal's affirmation of the National Caretaker Working Committee is not merely a legal victory. It is a moral and political reset. It offers us a rare opportunity to rebuild, to restore confidence, and to reaffirm the supremacy of due process and internal democracy within our party.
It is also a moment of reflection on the path the PDP has taken since its lost power at the center in 2015.
In 2015, when this party was going down, God brought Palliative, yes, so this weekend, to help the party in 2015. Again, in 2026, upon all the role division agreement, a faction of the faction, God has also brought the same man to put the party together. And that is what we are all here today. So thank God for his life. We'll keep praying for him. I keep praying for other leaders.
On behalf of the National Working Committee of our great party, you are hereby inaugurated.
The high point of the event is the inauguration of the over 20 committees who are charged with the responsibility of ensuring that the planned convention succeeds and the party is set on a new pedestal ahead of the 2027 general election.
The presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 presidential election, Mr. Peter Obi, has condemned the continued detention of a key leader of the African Democratic Congress and former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, describing it as political persecution. Mr. Obi made the remark during the meeting with ADC stakeholders in Kaduna State, during which he noted that Mr. El-Rufai's continued detention raises serious concerns about the state of democracy and the rule of law in the country. He, however, emphasized that justice must be fair, transparent, and free from political influence.
It is a political persecution. We have a law, and that law allows for people to be treated with dignity until they are found guilty. Let our law prevail. How do you tell somebody you're inviting him? He came back voluntarily in the country on his own, and you're treating him like somebody who's running away. No. Let the law follow its course. I've said it, I've written about it, and I continue to say so.
In part two, after the break, the Tony Elumelu Foundation unveils 3,200 new African entrepreneurs. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you have just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Gunmen abduct 8 worshippers during church service in the Ifelodun local government area of Kwara State. President Bola Tinubu says Nigeria has secured French support for military equipment and training after his phone conversation with President Emmanuel Macron. The Tony Elumelu Foundation unveils 3,200 new African entrepreneurs. And Iran warns it would permanently close the Strait of Hormuz if President Donald Trump delivers on his threat to strike its energy infrastructure. The Progressive Governors Forum, comprising governors elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, are presently in a crucial meeting at the Eco Hotel and Suites in Victoria Island, Lagos. 23 governors and 2 deputies have already arrived for today's meeting, with the national chairman of the party in attendance. Issues likely to be discussed include preparations for the party's upcoming national convention, gains of the presidential visit to the United Kingdom, the state of Nigeria's security, among other issues. However, the gathering coincides with the presence of President Bola Tinubu in Lagos for the Eid al-Fitr break ahead of his return to Abuja, the nation's capital. In Anambra State, Governor Chukwuma Soludo has held a Thanksgiving Mass to hand over the commencement of his second term in office with his deputy, Dr. Onyekachukwu Ibezim, into God's hands. The service, which took place at St. Patrick's Cathedral, Awka, was officiated by the Apostolic Nuncio to Nigeria, Archbishop Michael Crotty, among other priests, and heavily attended by the people of Anambra State.
Sweet melodies filter from St. Patrick's Cathedral, Awka, the venue for the second-term Thanksgiving service for the Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, and his deputy, Dr. Onyekachukwu Ibezim. The event draws a large congregation of government officials, political leaders, captains of industry, private sector stakeholders, security agencies, traditional rulers, members of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, and other stakeholders in the state. In his address, the Apostolic Nuncio, Michael Francis Crotty, praised for the governor, asking God to endow him with wisdom and grace for selfless leadership and to enjoy the heavenly intercession of St. Patrick, the patron saint of Nigeria.
Your Excellency, the Governor, I note that you were solemnly inaugurated on the 17th of March last, the Feast of St. Patrick, the secondary patron of Nigeria. And it is another sign of God's providence that the Governor of Anambra State should be inaugurated on the Feast of St. Patrick. Therefore, we entrust you to the heavenly intercession of St. Patrick. May he be your guide from heaven in all you do in the governance of this state.
Governor Chukwuma Soludo expresses gratitude to God and to the people of Anambra State for the opportunity to serve again and drops a message of faith and reassurance.
We are here at St. Patrick's Cathedral to thank God again for the successful commencement of a second term and to hand over the entire second term unto him. Anambra is in the hand of God. This government is the one that God has ordained for this moment, for the Anambra.
The governor's second term in office has begun, and he has called for collaboration and partnership. Expectations remain high for sustained growth and development across the state for a prosperous and livable homeland.
The Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde, has called for improved welfare for troops across the country to give them a sense of belonging and encouraged them to do even more to help secure the country. Governor Makinde noted that given the sacrifices made by the men and women in uniform, their welfare should be prioritized. The governor was speaking at the Chief of Army Staff Special Salah celebration with troops in 2 Division Nigerian Army held at Forward Operating Base in Olorun-Shogo local government area of Oyo State.
The sleepy town of Igbeti, also known as the Marble City, hosts an unusual kind of dignitaries for the just concluded Eid al-Fitr. The Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde joined top military brass to celebrate with troops, give them a sense of belonging, and with assurances of better days ahead.
I want to say thank you, especially those of you who are working in your state or your state. You've done a lot for us, and that is why in the Committee of States in Nigeria, Oyo State is regarded as one of the safest, thanks to your untiring effort.
Recognizing the established fact of sacrifice that stems from love of country, the least these leaders could do on a day like this is become service themselves to show appreciation to gallant soldiers who defy daunting odds daily to keep Nigerians secure. Speaking earlier, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, who was represented by Major General Nansak Shagaya, the Commander of Corps Supply and Transport, lauds the officers and men of the division for their discipline, their resilience and commitment, which have resulted in improved security in the area.
As we celebrate the Eid al-Fitr, it is also important to acknowledge that the defense and security of our nation is a shared responsibility. I wish to express my sincere appreciation to our sister services and to all security and intelligence agencies whose collaboration, professionalism, and dedication continue to strengthen our collective efforts.
In his address, the General Officer Commanding 2 Division Nigerian Army, Major General Chinedu Nebeife, appreciates Governor Makinde for his administration's support towards the Army in the past years, even as he lauds the Chief of Army Staff for promoting such a program as one of the avenues created to boost the morale of the troops.
This event is firmly rooted in his command philosophy, which is to transform the Nigerian Army into a professional, adaptable, combat-ready and resilient force capable of decisively discharging its constitutional responsibility.
Okyogun axis of Oyo State, in which Igbeti town is critical, have been battling with violent attacks from assailants recently. But security agents have visibly increased their offensive against these attacks. An event like this is a clear signal to the troops that they are not alone and appreciated, and a message to the criminal elements in the state that there will be no hiding place for them. Bukola Oriowo, Channels Television News.
The Tony Elumelu Foundation has reaffirmed its commitment to empowering young African entrepreneurs with funding, training and support to build sustainable businesses and drive economic growth across the continent. At an event attended by business leaders, foundation executives and beneficiaries, the founder of the foundation, Mr. Tony Elumelu, charged the young entrepreneurs to take responsibility for Africa's development while commending efforts to create an enabling business environment. Our correspondent Benny Ark reports.
The event brought together thousands of beneficiaries, business leaders and stakeholders, highlighting the foundation's continued investment in empowering over 3,000 young entrepreneurs across Africa, with key figures from the private sector and foundation leadership in attendance. The initiative is aimed at democratizing prosperity and creating jobs through the support of small and medium-scale enterprises, with the foundation emphasizing that entrepreneurship remains a key driver of economic growth and social transformation on the continent.
Since 2015, when we launched our flagship entrepreneurship program, we have disbursed over $100 million to 24,000 young men and women who have started and scaled businesses across our continent. Ladies and gentlemen, today, these entrepreneurs have collectively created 1.5 million jobs, generated $4.2 billion in revenue, lifting 2.1 million Africans above the poverty line and 4.1 million households, unique households, positively impacted.
Former beneficiaries who spoke at the event shared success stories of how the foundation support helped scale their businesses, create jobs and impact their communities, while encouraging the new cohort to maximize the opportunity.
When I received the $5,000 seed capital, my business was at an idea stage with passion but no capital. The business management training and the invaluable mentorship I received has been transformative. Today, I can proudly report that my business has grown by 200%. With an annual revenue of $40,000.
The founder reiterates that sustained investment in entrepreneurs will continue to play a critical role in building a prosperous and self-reliant Africa.
I believe, and my colleagues share this, that no one but us will develop Africa. I also believe that the future of our continent is in your hands. I believe further that we should not just talk the talk, but we should act and demonstrate it.
Then came the unveiling of the 3,200 new African entrepreneurs.
We present to you the 2026 cohort.
As the event ends, the Tony Lumulu Foundation reiterates its commitment to expand support for young entrepreneurs with a focus on job creation, innovation, and long-term economic development across Africa. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
Concerns are mounting over the reliability of Nigeria's postal delivery system, as some customers claim parcels sent through the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST, never reaches their destination. While the agency says major transformations have taken place with more reforms on the way to boost operations and support Nigeria's growing e-commerce sector, questions remain about tracking, accountability, and how missing parcels are handled.
For many Nigerians, sending or receiving a parcel through the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST, is expected to be a simple and reliable process, a service connecting people, businesses, and communities. However, for some customers, the experience has raised concerns. But not all experiences have been negative.
This is my second time using NIPOST, and to be honest, I feel like if I rate the experience, it's like 8 out of 10, because the first time was I wasn't really satisfied the first time. But this second time using it now, I'm okay. I feel like my package was delayed because of the custom office and not NIPOST. And yet the workers are actually really nice.
With these mixed experiences, questions arise about how parcels move through the network, from arrival points to the sorting centers, and finally to delivery. Industry observers say the issue often comes down to logistics management and technology, with modern systems relying on digital barcoding, automated sorting, and real-time tracking. However, many postal services in developing economies are still transitioning to full digital operations. In recent years, NIPOST has introduced tracking services, expanded partnerships, and strengthened oversight of courier operations.
Every part of the value chain is...
Officials say when parcels are reported missing, customers must file formal complaints, which triggers an internal investigation to trace the item.
every part of the value chain is vulnerable, right, because of human intervention. So we have a team dedicated to finding this. NIPOST has an internal investigation and security team to ensure, and which is like I think USPS, Postal Security, they also have something similar, to ensure that at any point in time, we can track, trace, and if there's anything untoward, we can easily track it and trace it to someone. In cases where we find it, we can return it to the customer in those rare cases. And in the cases, because we're a responsible institution and we believe in customer service, and in the cases where we know that maybe it was internal, our fault, after we've done our investigation, we ensure that we compensate.
Public confidence in the National Postal Service is considered key to effective service as the management of the agency pledges necessary reforms to ensure greater transparency, improved tracking systems, and stronger operational efficiency.
In the immediate, what this postcode does is solve a problem that Nigeria has. Nigeria currently does not have a machine-readable addressing structure. Right. And this doesn't just affect e-commerce and logistics. This affects a lot of government services that rely on spatial identification. So things like emergency services, urban planning, censusing, financial inclusion, government inclusion, just anything that requires identification at a spatial level. This alphanumeric postcode solves that in the immediate.
As demands for parcel delivery grows, Nigerians can only hope for a more dependable national postal service. Soonest Nathaniel, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, intercepts shipments of opioids and meth at Lagos Airport. Please join us again. Welcome back. Access to clean and safe water is essential for the health, economy, and survival of any community. Yet residents of communities in Anambra South local government area of Delta State have endured years of water scarcity, forcing many to rely on difficult and unsafe alternatives.
In communities like Ubulu-Uku and Ubulu-Uno in Anambra South local government area, access to potable water has become a daily struggle. Residents depend on hand-dug wells during the rainy season, storing water for use in the dry months. For others, private boreholes owned by a few individuals serve as the only reliable source, with water either given freely or sold. With streams now dried up, these measures are often the only way to avoid serious health risks linked to unsafe water. The signs of hardship are evident. Water tankers supply limited quantities, while residents queue for hours or drag containers long distances just to meet basic needs. The crisis is not limited to one community. In Ubulu-Uno, a water scheme commissioned years ago alongside that of Ubulu-Uku has become non-functional. Damaged pipe networks and an industrial borehole with an overhead breathworth tank and generator built during the administration of former Governor James Ibori never took off. The Ubulu-Uku scheme has also failed, leaving residents without any public water supply.
Decided to start building underground tanks. And then they collect water, rainwater, and store. And most of the time, depending on the depth of your underground tank, they can use it after rainy seasons for 2-3 months. And they start buying water.
Community leaders say the situation has increased financial pressure on families and exposed residents to waterborne diseases.
People are now forced to use untreated water. Associated with these are all the normal waterborne diseases. Diarrhea, cholera, you name it. All these are the consequences of it.
The local government chairman insists efforts are underway to ease the burden through additional boreholes, while calling for urgent intervention from state and federal governments.
At our own level, we have tried to sink boreholes, and some have succeeded partially, some have also failed. So that's why it's beyond us, and when it's beyond you, go to the next level. You know, we have 3 tiers of government. We'll cry to the state. We are now crying to the state to come to our aid and assist our people.
Residents remain hopeful for a lasting solution as the search for clean and safe water continues across Aniocha South.
In Edo State, Governor Monday Okpebholo has conducted an inspection of the Ramat Park flyover project construction in Benin City. During the inspection, Governor Okpebholo noted that the project, coupled with its accompanying drainage infrastructure, will provide a permanent solution to the environmental challenges plaguing the area, restoring full functionality to the appeal court and the Independent National Electoral Commission office, which have been impacted by persistent flooding in the area. The construction of the flyover is said to be approximately 90% complete, while the drain works are at 70%. The governor expressed confidence that the project will be ready before the peak of the rainy season.
Governor Monday Okpebholo's inspection tour reveals significant progress on the Ramat Park flyover construction, Edo's first flyover. The governor has kept a close eye on the Ramat Park flyover project, a brainchild of his administration, personally inspecting the project to ensure it meets required standards. The project aims to address traffic issues on Benin-Ekuma and Benin-Agbo roads, which serve as major routes linking neighboring states. Road users commend the state government for the initiative.
Go slow the day well. But I believe that with this thing, if they finish, everywhere go to free. So it's a good job. For now, nobody thinks about flyover in those states. But this is the first flyover, so the man is trying very well.
Senator Okpebholo is doing marvelously well for Edo State, and everybody is seeing it, and the work is fast.
A flood control drainage system is also underway to address persistent flooding in the area. The site engineer says work on both projects is nearing completion.
Our bridge already exceeded 90% completion. We just have our median barrier and the parapet to be completed. And after then, immediately we put our expansion joints and lay the asphalt. The filling of abutment wall is also completed for the both sides. As people can see our equipment already driving up the bridge.
Governor Okpebholo is optimistic the projects will bring relief to communities and businesses.
We have come to examine what they are doing. On the bridge, they are like 90%. But on the drain, which is the stormwater, that is where we are now. They are already 70%. As you know, the High Court is no longer here. The INEC is also threatened. A lot of investment here are threatened. But by the time we take this water out of this place, we return the High Court back, renovate the High Court, and let the INEC be fully here instead of operating from 2 sessions.
The inspection tour also covers the Catholic Charismatic Renewal Church Street construction project, where workers are busy with different aspects of the project, and Saple Road flyover project at Adesua Junction, which is expected to improve traffic flow in the area. The governor emphasized the need for contractors to maintain professional standards in handling the projects. Jessica Olubose, Channels Television News.
Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA, at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Ikeja have foiled attempts by drug trafficking syndicates to smuggle consignments of illicit substances to Europe. The drugs, mainly methamphetamine and opioids, were concealed in cotton wools, winter jackets and body cream containers. In a statement, the agency's Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, explained 2 of the consignments bound for Italy were intercepted at a courier facility within the Lagos airport, leading to the arrest of 2 suspects linked to the shipments. One of the suspects, 37-year-old Friday Ihanuka, was apprehended while attempting to board an Ethiopian Airlines flight to Rome on March the 20th. and he was found with 2,698 pills of 225 mg tramadol concealed in containers of skin lightening body cream packed in his luggage. In a separate operation on March the 18th, NDLEA operatives at the airport's departure hall intercepted another suspect, Christian Agbuese, who was about to board a Lufthansa flight to Milan, Italy. A thorough search of his luggage led to the recovery of 23,150 pills of 225 mg tramadol, 4,000 tablets of 250 mg tapentadol, and 1,320 pills of 100 mg tramadol, all hidden inside 2 large winter jackets. Now, as part of efforts to cushion economic hardship occasioned by the hike in premium motor spirit or petrol and support vulnerable residents, the Taraba State government has released 30,000 50-kilogram bags of maize for distribution across the state. Now, the state government also handed over 15,000 bags of 10-kilogram rice donated to the state by a cement manufacturer.
The Taraba State government is handing over 30,000 50 kg bags of maize from its food bank and 15,000 bags of 10 kg rice donated by a cement manufacturer to the 16 local government chairmen for distribution across the state. With a clear directive against diversion and sabotage, the aim is to alleviate the current economic hardship brought forth by the hike in pump price of petrol.
This is a program that is very, very key to His Excellency. He said I should tell the people this way. Monitoring of the distribution will be done from the local government throughout the world where the distributions will be done.
The State Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources, in his remarks, declares that those who lost out in last year's farming season will also benefit from the gesture.
But there's no need to cut corners. It has to reach to the people that these things are intended to. We have our vulnerable households, poor communities, poor individuals that have lost out in the harvest of last year. Please, I'd like to encourage you to take it very seriously. There is every eye that is watching on you. The people are watching on you. Government is also watching on you.
The local government chairmen, through their representative, are assuring the state government of fairness and transparency in the exercise.
On behalf of my colleagues, we want to register our sincere gratitude to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Taraba State, who is equally Mr. Project, for releasing 30,000 kg of maize to the 16 local government councils, especially to reach the less privileged among us.
The palliative distribution is expected to provide relief to thousands of vulnerable households in Taraba.
Ahead of the second edition of the Aquarian-controlled Afro-Caribbean Investment Summit holding in Nigeria, over 100 delegates have arrived from the St. Kitts and Nevis as well as other member countries of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. Speaking on arrival at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, the Minister of Agriculture of St. Kitts and Nevis, Samal Duggins, says his country remains committed to deepening bilateral relations with Nigeria and Africa as a whole towards building the transatlantic bridge that connects Africa and the Caribbean.
The Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drews, arrives in Nigeria leading over 100 delegates from his country and other member countries of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, for the second edition of the Aquarian Consult Afro-Caribbean Investment Summit. Over 2,000 participants, including current and former heads of government, ministers, sovereign wealth funds, multilateral institutions, regional investment promotion agencies, private sector leaders, investors, and entrepreneurs will be attending the event. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis believes the event is also an opportunity to build on its relations with Nigeria and the rest of Africa.
We came here last year, started laying the groundwork for the transatlantic bridge and connecting Africa and the Caribbean. Today, we return with over 100 delegates from across the Caribbean region, including here with me ministers from various islands of the OECS. And we are here to continue that work and build upon that foundation. It is a strong connection between Africa and the Caribbean. That is undoubtable. When we look at our pigmentation, when we look at our features and our culture, when we look at the spiritual connection, it's undeniable.
Organizers say the summit will also showcase the historical potential of Africa and the Caribbean.
Over 100 people originated from the Caribbean to Africa. On that flight, we had the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. We had 10 ministers, most from the OECS. We have young adults, business people, and a cultural team for cultural exchange, all for the second edition of the Aquarian Consult Afro-Caribbean Investment Summit. This summit is here to ensure that we can showcase the investment opportunities both in Africa and the Caribbean to Africans and Caribbeans.
The second edition of the Aquarian Consult Afro-Caribbean Investment Summit is targeting to unlock structured trade, institutional investment flows, and private sector collaborations across a combined 40 trillion market spanning Africa, the Caribbean, and the Americas.
And now to the arts. Vision of the Last Quarter 2 is a celebration of the outstanding legends from the Oshogbo Art School. The exhibition, which took place at the Thought Pyramid Arts Center in Abuja, featured vintage pieces, and we see them on Art Review tonight.
This memorable exhibition at the Thought Pyramid Arts Center in Abuja is to reignite the flame of history. Vision of the Last Quarter 2 is an archival group exhibition spotlighting rare, never-before-seen masterpieces by 5 legendary pioneers of the Oshogbo art movement.
It's 7 years of preparing for this show. You know what that means. We've been actually trying to retrieve most of the works. It's not the works that we can actually see because 3 of the artists are not alive. We only have 2 of them. This is Chief Jim Obrimo and Chief Morena Yolami. So it took us a painstaking for us. But we say to the glory of God, we are able to comfort with it. And it has come to pass today.
Adebisi Fabumi, Jim Obrimo, Morena Oyelami, Rufus Ogundele, and Twin 77.
Artists should be able to model their environment to their artwork. You know, you tell stories about what you experience, what you see, society, and everything that has to do with, how you perceive the world. And so what Adebisi has done here is to narrow down his immediate environment. And today we can begin to look at it and imagine how it was in his time. So because of art lives after the artists, even years after they have died, the artwork will continue to live on. And so that is what this work and all the other work exhibiting here today, tells and teaches artists to do. So your work should be able to live after you.
This landmark exhibition gives viewers an extraordinary opportunity to encounter the creative brilliance of these visionary artists.
I love the exhibition. It's very well curated, very well selected. I love the fact that the artworks have very intricate detailing in terms of Afrocentric design. My favorite would have to be the Twin 77 during the selection. It kind of gives me a personal insight of what the artist was trying to do. You know, as an artist, sometimes when you're about to make an artwork, you have so many ideas of what could go here, what could go here, what could go here. So I feel like in the mind of Taiwo, he kind of captured all those ideas in tiny, tiny bubbles to, display different kinds of artworks, different, methods of his visions and his thoughts, into the artwork. So I really love the selection. It's really, really good.
Their timeless works continue to shape and define the legacy of Nigerian modernism.
Every piece here actually stands out for me, from Twin 77 to Morena Oyelami. I refer to him as the poetic painter, and to Chief Jim Obremo, Africa's most celebrated beat painter. All of them are DBC Fabumi, Rufus Ogudele. I think I'm in love with their art.
This enduring spirit of Oshogbo is celebrated through art and history.
Welcome to Sports News. Match day 31 of the Nigeria Premier Football League recorded 14 goals from 7 games played across the country. At the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu, Rangers International moved top of the table following a 2-0 win against visiting El Kanemi Warriors with goals from Daniel Itodo and Godwin Obaje. The win moves the Flying Antelopes to 54 points from 31 games, 2 points ahead of their closest rivals Rivers United, who will face Nasarawa United in Lafia on Monday. Kano Pillars beat 9-time champions Enyimba International, with the People's Elephant now in 16th spot on the NPFL table with 36 points. Katsina United edged Shooting Stars by a lone goal. Kun Khalifat and Korodu City played out a draw. Plateau United and Remo Stars picked home wins in Jos and Ikene. In England, Nico O'Reilly scored 2 goals in 4 minutes as Manchester City beat Arsenal in the final of the EFL Cup at Wembley Stadium. Arsenal goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga gifted O'Reilly's opener before he headed in again 4 minutes later. That's O'Reilly to hand Man City boss Pep Guardiola his 5th trophy in the competition, becoming the first ever manager to do so. Arsenal's failure to win the first trophy since the 2020 FA Cup win was a painful blow, ending their bid to land an unprecedented quadruple. O'Reilly is the 3rd youngest player ever to score twice in a League Cup final, after Wayne Rooney did it in 2006 for Man United and Ronnie Whelan in 1982 for Liverpool. Keeps getting worse for Tottenham Hotspur in the English Premier League. This time they slipped ever closer to relegation from the EPL with a 3-0 defeat to fellow strugglers Nottingham Forest earlier today. The Spurs have not tasted life outside the English top flight since 1978, but remain the only side without a Premier League win so far in 2026. Goals from Igor Jesus, Morgan Gibbs-White and Taiwo Awoniyi inflicted the latest in a series of damaging defeats on interim Tottenham boss Igor Tudor. West Ham's 2-0 defeat at Aston Villa ensured Spurs remain 1 point outside the relegation zone with 7 games left. Earlier, Newcastle's European ambitions and local pride were dealt a major blow as Sunderland came from behind to win 2-1 in the first time-wear derby at St James's Park in 10 years. Away from sports news, Iran has warned that the Strait of Hormuz, a critical route for global oil shipments, will be completely closed if the United States targets its energy infrastructure, escalating tensions in the region. The warning follows a statement by U.S. President Donald Trump, who on Saturday threatened to destroy Iranian power facilities if the strategic waterway is not reopened within 48 hours. Meanwhile, Israel carried out a fresh wave of airstrikes on Tehran, prompting a retaliatory missile response from the Iranians. Now, emergency services report that more than 160 people were injured in southern Israel following the strikes. Initial indications suggest the intended target may have been a nuclear facility located about 13 kilometers from the town of Dimona. UK Housing Secretary Steve Reed said there is no assessment to substantiate Israel's claim that Iran has long-range missiles capable of reaching London. Speaking to the BBC, Reed addressed recent Israel Defense Forces statements suggesting Tehran possesses missiles with a range of up to 4,000 kilometers, but then he declined to prove details on how close the missiles came to the British overseas territory, citing operational security. The remarks come after reports that Iran targeted the joint US-UK military base on the Chagos Islands in the Indian Ocean, approximately 3,800 kilometers from Iran. And the main news again. Gunmen today abducted 8 worshippers during a church service at the Evangelical Church of West Africa in the Ifelodun local government area of Kwara State. President Bola Tinubu today said Nigeria has secured French support for military equipment and training after his phone conversation with the French President Emmanuel Macron. And the Tony Elumelu Foundation unveiled 3,200 new African entrepreneurs who are expected to drive growth in the African continent. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. From everyone here, do have a good night.